Welcome to the Indiana State Board of Animal Health online tutorial for use in creating a large animal health certificate using the fillable PDF. A couple things to note about the form. On the upper left, you'll see that this is an official state form and it has the state seal. On the right, you'll see the certificate number. It starts with 32 for the state of Indiana, followed by the last 4 digits of your license number. Where it says NULL, that will go away once the certificate is signed and saved, and it will be replaced with a long number that will not count in sequential order. We'll start here with the entry permit number. There are times that you'll need to go back and add an entry permit number after you have a certificate number assigned. This is the one field that can be edited after the certificate is signed and saved. Next, we'll go to the inspection date. You can either enter the date in 2 and 4 format, or anytime a caret pops up, you can click on it and you will get a calendar, and you can choose from the calendar. Next, you'll enter the consigner's information. This is the exact same format that your paper certificate uses. So you'll put the client's name in here. If they have a business name, you'll put that here. The physical address of the animals has to be the address where the animals reside. You cannot use approximations or P.O. boxes. And you can either tab or use your mouse to get to the next field. Indiana will automatically be populated because only Indiana animals can go on Indiana health certificates, so that cannot be changed. You'll need to put the 5-digit zip code in, and the county can only search by the first letter. So for example, if you're looking for Allen County, you'll click on the A twice to get to Allen. If you put AL, you'll get LaGrange County because it's searching by the last letter you typed. So you can either click A twice, or you can choose from the drop down here, and you have a list of all Indiana counties. Under the phone number, you'll put in the phone number without any parentheses or dashes. The program will automatically format the phone number. The next is the location ID. Location ID is the same as premises ID. They've just used a different word on this document. So premises IDs are all 7 digits long. They all have leading double zeros, not the letter O. And they often have a combination of letters and numbers. If the owner uses a different mailing address, or if there are different headquarters for their farm or for their operation, you can put that information in here. And next we'll go to the middle column. First, you'll see the shipment date. Only enter the shipment date if you're positive of when the animals will move, because what you don't want to happen is that you lock someone into a movement date and then they have information that's not correct on their certificate. If you're positive of the shipment date, you can enter it in 2, 2, and 4 format, or you can choose from the drop-down menu and you'll get a calendar. Next, you'll enter the consignee. So this will be the person that's receiving the animals. This is the same information that was in the same format on the paper health certificate. If they have a business name or a farm name, you can enter that here. The physical address of where the animals are going. For example, the North American Livestock Exposition is not an address, it's a place. So if you need the address for the North American Livestock Expo, just Google the Kentucky Expo Fairgrounds and you'll get an actual address. So you have to put an address in here. You can't just put the name of a show. And then the state drop-down searches just like the county drop-down. So if we're looking for Kentucky, we'll hit K twice until we get Kentucky. And then and the zip code. If you happen to know the county, you can enter it, but it's an already grayed out field, so that doesn't mean that it is required. So county is a non-required field. And then you'll put the phone number. If the owners are moving them, then it'll be the same information. If you're selling them, then you'll put the buyer's phone number in there. The location ID, you may or may not know, but it is not a required field, especially if they're going to a fairgrounds. You probably will not know what the premises ID is. If the consignee uses a different address, you'll enter that here. For example, if they have corporate headquarters. The next spot is Print Reconsigned, and when you click on this button, you'll see that we added a box down below the signature box that says Reconsigned To, and this basically recreates what was the third box across the top of the paper CVI, and this is so that this certificate can be used in a sale purpose to consign an animal on to its next destination. So it has to be it has to have a veterinary signature to move on. I would recommend that you be sure to populate this box with an X for any animals that are going to a sale. Over here you'll choose large animal, and then the only required field here is purpose of movement, and you'll see that you have a lot more choices for purpose of movement, so whatever is the most applicable, go ahead and choose from there. If you know that the animal will be going, for example, by truck or car, you can put that in, but that's not required. And then if you can mark whether these are interstate or intrastate, that helps us sort them, so this would be an interstate movement. Next, we'll go down here to the disease certification statement. This is a statement that you get from the receiving state. For example, they will let you know what they want printed on the certificate. They might want you to type something like, no raw garbage fed. Do not put any parentheses or quotations. Type it exactly the way that they'd like it. And then you'll go over to the flock or herd accredited free for. So, for example, if they were accredited free for scrapie, you would put an X in that box. If they're accredited herd, they will have a flock ID or a herd ID, and you'll enter that here. You can go over to current state or area status, and for Indiana, you'll choose whatever is most applicable. So your choices are tuberculosis free, modified accredited, etc. So you'll choose whatever is most applicable. Next, you'll go down and fill out the certificate for the species that you're inspecting, and you'll choose from the species drop down here, and you have a lot of choices. So we will write a sheep health certificate. You cannot mix species on a certificate. So if someone's taking both sheep and goats to the North American, you can't mix them on the same certificate. So number of head, they're going to have to be individually identified for most states' purposes. So you'll just click in here and put 1. And then the official ID. So this is the tag that has the US seal on it. It could be an 840 tag. In sheep, it's typically a scrapie tag. And if it's an Indiana-born animal, it will have IN at the beginning. And then you would put a dash because the tag would have the flock ID listed and then the individual number. So that's how you would list the official permanent ID. If they have a registration number, this is where you would list this. It's also where I would put in what breed the animal is. And then under age, you put in the number increment, and then you can choose from the drop down, and you have months or years. So we'll go with months. And then under sex, you have male, female, castrated, spayed, free martin, and unknown. So we'll make this one a female. And then under breed, you have lots of choices for breed, which is awesome. So since she's a registered Dorset, I would choose Dorset. You'll notice that some of the fields here have tests in them that are not applicable for use in sheep. So for example, the EIA test, which is a Coggins test for horses, has already been grayed out and they wrote NA in it. But if this animal did not have to be TB tested, just leave it blank. Please do not type NA. If she didn't have to be brucellosis tested, you would leave that blank as well. If she has a brucellosis tattoo from a calf hood vaccine, if it was a calf, then you would enter that here. And since most states do not require us to TB test sheep, we'll just go past that. Over here, under other tests, vaccinations, or treatment used, this is where you could put something like CDT vaccine. If you wanted to put the last deworming, you could do that. Now, if you're adding another sheep to this certificate, you can hit copy. And this is a really cool feature. It will copy all the information except the individual ID. So you can go back through the information and change anything you want. So for example, if you wanted to add a Dorset wether, who's probably not registered, you can go back and modify this to fit your needs. So that is a really neat feature of this. And if you want a blank row, you can click on Add New Row, but keep in mind that you can't mix species on a health certificate. So we'll just delete the last row. And you can see how it can keep a running total of how many animals are on this certificate. You can put as many individual animals on a certificate as you need. It will just roll over to the next page. Once you've completed this, the only other thing you'll have to do is to put the date that you signed the certificate. So that doesn't have to be the same day that the animals were inspected. You have 30 days from the point of inspection for you to write the certificate for the animal to move. It's only good for 30 days. So you've now completed how to fill out a large animal health certificate. The only thing left to do is to go over to our video on signing and saving to complete the document.